In previous times, how were children educated? I understand that until a certain point, there were ghettos where people could behave however. Practically, that's how they were brought up. That's how they were brought up. Well, Bala Sulam, for instance, how did he bring out the Rabash? The Rabash, he had a good upbringing. Up to our times, until our century. That's how they practically were brought up. Meaning, the most important thing shown to a child, that which was shown to a child in the ghetto, in the Jewish settlements, is that you should respect the books. You have to constantly sit and study. You have to constantly draw from the books that which is written there and somehow and try and compare yourself to that. There was no Kabbalistic upbringing, there was no Kabbalistic education, because it was a time of exile from spirituality. And thus, a person was simply educated as a result of reading. But in those Jewish settlements, there wasn't any robbery, killing, cheating. There were none of those ever. It was a very calm, quiet life, a struggle to exist because it was forbidden to work in any kind of work. To cultivate the land was also forbidden. To find your living in the city was also forbidden. People were restricted as much as possible, besides the pogroms. So the people, they simply managed somehow. But that was the only ideal. The only ideal was that although there was no Kabbalah there, and no direct thriving for the revelation of the Creator existed in those times, but the ideal of a wise student, he who knows all the books, that was very honorable. There was no honor, respect towards money or riches. Only the wise were respected. Beauty was never respected. You could never see a young fellow chasing a beautiful girl because she's beautiful. Never happened. That was till the 19th, 20th century. The parents, they made the acquaintance because it was known that they know how to choose. Never happened such a thing that a young man would choose some girl he saw her someplace or something like that, or any kind of relationships before marriage never existed. You can't imagine how it all was. Very different, very clear, everything understood. Today, it's already undergoing a final destruction, but till recently, in ultra-religious environments, that's how it is to this day. Of course, today it's all coming to an end because we're undergoing this intermediate phase, but to this day it still exists there, in that environment. To a young man and one young woman have any kind of sexual relations before marriage? No, never, only after marriage. Does he meet someone, or does she see someone, or do they live together before they marry? Of course not. They're brought up in similar families, and they very well understand who they are, because in one family there are many kids, children, boys and girls, and in the other family, so they exactly understand what kind of family they have to have. They have an example. And that's it. I'm not saying that that's how it has to happen today. Today, it exhausted itself. But in principle, you know how in previous times a person was estimated. Very simply, a boy was measured very simply by how many pages of the Talmud does he know by heart. As simple as that. He knows 200, and he knows 700. Ooh. Meaning that this one is better. That's it. He could be beautiful, tall, powerful. Means nothing. at all. I know, with the Rabash, there was this wedding of one of his relatives, and I was present. That's the only way the parents decide. He knows 700 pages by heart, and this one, he knows only 200. He's a nobody. So that's it. You take a test, and that's that, about how much you know. No one looks at any external appearance, they're matching, suitable, nothing. You understand? If that's the standard, then it's a completely different attitude inside the society towards everything. But now it all changed. Money came forward, but that's how it was throughout all the millennia. Only that way. And before that, when people lived in attainment of the spiritual world, and there it was very clear, everything was revealed. You could see one spiritual height and another spiritual height. That's interesting, actually. So they're in attainment. They brought up children. They brought up children corresponding to, as it said, that there was no boy or girl of the age of 6 from Dan to Beersheba, meaning from the north to the south of the country, that did not understand the laws of impurity, meaning spiritual impurity, of course. You understand what it means, what bad is, good is, egoism, altruism, reception, or giving. At the age of 6, that was the level of the kids. Yes? That means a brain, not an English one, of course. I'm sorry. So they were small sages. They weren't small. They were in attainment of the upper world, to the extent to which you understand what it means at the age of 6 to be in attainment. In our times, there were very few of those. Amchal, the Agra, those that at the age of 9, at the age of 11, look at the books they wrote. There were such in every generation, a few. There are these indigo children now, but they're indigo in something else. They're simply gifted. Their IQ is measured, so